And we're going live. And we are here. On and off,
Wow, okay.
on and off the cuff kind of thing.
Huh?
I know it's saying that it's starting. I don't know that it actually started.
Yeah, that's the downside.
Good afternoon, Jensen.
Oh,
By the way,
good
what time?
afternoon.
What time is it there?
I've got 2026 here.
All right, so it's at 8 o'clock.
Yeah, 8:20. Well, eight to use 12 hour. It's 8:27 exactly.
So
It literally just flicked over as we said it.
just, just, just a nattering. Today's just going to be a
Yeah.
nattering of several different things. All
Mhm.
right. What is what? How is? Let me ask a question.
Go for it.
How is the European Union trade deal playing over there?
Well, as I'm sure you know, because I'm saying this semi-maliciously because you have used this more than once. Not being European, I'm not as quite clued in as I should be, but I also happen to know that Ursula von der Leyen quite simply got on her knees, and I won't go into too much detail, but she worked out a deal with Trump.
Well, yeah,
I'm not
yeah.
saying she was wiping the mouth afterwards, though.
My question is how are the British feeling about this? Because you
Oh,
guys
we
are still waiting to make a trade deal with us, right?
technically that was done today.
Ah, so I missed something.
Yes, Keir Starmer, and I refuse to call him sir. Keir Starmer actually had his meeting with Trump today on the golf course, which is kind of hilarious because, put it bluntly, Keir Starmer probably can't spell golf, let alone know how it's played.
Well, I mean, let's take a quick gander at this.
Hmm.
From the Irish Star, Trump reveals shockingly thin hair finally exposed when he takes off his off helmet.
No, really? I'm shocked. I thought he had a full head of hair.
Um, why is this a story?
It's not. It is literally just you may it probably will be considered bloody obvious to people like you, but over here you are not allowed to like Trump. All of the media is anti-Trump, and I can't stress these words when I say all of the media. In
Well,
fact, over here the only company that isn't is called GB News, and that is a very right-wing news
okay.
company.
The what was what was talked about from the trade deal with the
Hmm.
EU. Okay. Um, I would have thought that that would have had a higher visibility, if for no other reason than screaming at Vanderland. All right.
Yeah.
Because one of the things that they did agree to was to stop purchasing energy from Russia and purchase it from the United States.
Yeah. Good.
Okay. So now, once again, I want people to understand this. I'm not anti-Russia. I'm not pro-Russia
Yeah.
either. Okay, I want that
Oh.
understood as well. I have
Yeah.
said this from the very beginning. Okay, I don't think this is the America's fight. I don't think this is our what we need to be involved in. All right, I don't have a problem tweaking the Russians because the Russians are not good dudes and haven't been for I don't know since I've been born. Okay, as old as I
Fair.
am, they've been the enemy. Okay, let
Yeah.
this understood. And it wasn't because we wanted to be their enemy. They decided to be our enemy. Okay?
Hey, I have no idea, so I'm just going to stand back here and agree with you. This is unfortunately kind of out of my wheelhouse. I know that this basically all started because of the World War II thing,
No, it goes back before
and it.
World War II. It goes back to the communists.
Oh,
All right, when they took World War One, and they basically stood up
okay.
there and said that we're anti-American, and they've been anti-American, and they've been fomenting a revolution in this country. All right, since the 1920s.
Hmm.
They've been the communists have been a problem in this country, all right, since communism was first freaking espoused by that idiot Karl Marx and the flippin' Marxists slash anarchists that were a part of it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Now, I'm not saying that there weren't problems in America. America's all sweetness and light, okay? But communism is never the answer, ever.
No, no, no. You can stop there. Okay, communism is the answer if it's what's a really really bad idea.
Okay.
No, no. I'm sorry. You set the rules here. I'm stopping you right there. Okay.
I think I
What
made my
kills more
point.
people? What kills more people than cancer? Communism. See, I've given you two things that communism is the correct answer for.
The wrong questions. The world is full of wrong questions. I will admit that.
Thank you.
All right,
I do
but
understand what
what
you mean,
my
though. Seriously.
I'll be honest with you. Up until when it was still Tsarist Russia,
Yeah.
okay, we were not in the United States. We were not really any more anti-Russian, all right, than we were anti-British. I don't know if people realize that. Okay,
Okay.
um, I'm not saying we were friends.
No.
Okay, but we were not adversaries. It was not a we are trying to we will roll you. You know, we will. What was that thing from Miss Shoeboy Khrushchev? We will bury you. Okay,
Oh, yes.
all
Yes.
right. It wasn't that kind of a relationship. Okay,
Yeah.
and in fact, the United States probably would have moved much closer to Russia, Tsarist Russia, all right, than
Hmm.
even many Europeans. People don't understand this.
So, just for clarification purposes,
Hmm.
you are saying that America would have connected with White Russians more than the Red Russians. Is this correct?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
we had
Don't
troops
you?
fight with the right Russians. Don't you just so people understand
Okay.
this? Okay,
Okay. I just wanted to get clarification. That was all.
all right. The the communists were always the problem, and when they
Yes.
came into the ascendancy, the biggest obstacle to them was the United States. All right. And the reason
Okay.
for that is the lack of an aristocracy. Let's be
Yes.
perfectly blunt with this. The aristocratic nobilities of Europe, and including in this case Britain, are enamored
Mhm.
with communist philosophies.
Which, if you think about it, is actually stupid. If and you are really not going to like what I'm about to say here. Just want that clear. Technically, America and its entire attitude towards nobility is actually a lot closer to the concept of communism, except you guys are in the complete belief of money makes right, which I don't disagree with.
Not really. All right.
Excuse
It's
me.
more in the belief of, see, we don't believe money makes right. It's not that
Oh,
we're
okay.
stupid. It's not that we're stupid and don't recognize the power of money in a monetary economy. Okay.
I never said anything about you being stupid. I'd like that
No,
noted.
no, I understand that. I'm just trying to point out
Okay.
Americans. People think that all Americans are like Trump. Okay, in
Yeah.
that they're they're always going for the brass ring. They're always going for the money. They're always going for this. Most Americans go for what they want to be comfortable with. Okay,
Okay.
they don't care about money in the sense. Most Americans don't care about money in the sense that, oh, I got to make more than the next guy. They were never. Most Americans were not caught up in the I've got to be better than the Joneses. Okay,
Okay.
there were Americans that are like that. Those Americans that are like that are what you see in what most Americans see as, or not Americans, but the world sees as our achievers. Okay.
Okay. I personally would define that as a predominantly East Coast belief,
No,
but
no,
I
no,
could
no,
well
no,
be
no, no.
wrong.
No. That is that the ones that are after that are on all coasts. Okay, I want you to understand
Okay.
this. Okay.
Okay. I was actually basing that purely on whether you like it or not. At the end of the day, East Coast America has a very strong connection to the way Europe does things, a lot more than Midwest and Central America, and then obviously the Western Americas.
Well, Western America
The,
has a okay is a bit of a it is, believe it or not, it's more than you has more in common than you think. But it's
oh,
because the flavor is slightly different because of where its views come from, or and so forth. And when I say that, I'm talking to they go west. Okay,
yeah.
on the East Coast they go east. On the West Coast they go west. But there are similarities between the Asian philosophies and the European philosophies in certain regards. There are differences as well. All right, and that's
Mm,
really more. That's what you're seeing as more of a reflection between the West Coast and the East Coast. To be honest, all right, or
okay.
aspects of that. That's why the West Coast seems to be very East Coast like, but at the same time its own entity unto itself because it's a
Okay.
flavor of that mentality. But the idea that Americans are going to work hard strictly for the sake of getting money, all right, and are totally focused on that. Yes, those people do achieve things. Okay. Yes, those
Hmm.
people will represent, unfortunately, represent America to a lot of the world. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's not the general American attitude. All right. The general
Okay.
American attitude is, I get what's for me. Uh, how do I put this? It's I have what's available for myself, and I don't worry about what other people have. Does that make sense?
Yes.
All right. And if I have to work hard to get where why does this thing keep doing this to me? Because I keep
I
grabbing the
have
wrong
no
thing.
idea what it's
There we
doing, mate.
go.
No.
Oh, so the idea of a money grubbing viewpoint of America, and America is driven by the almighty dollar. That's the world's view of America because of our representatives are overrepresented from that class. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. Oh, hey, Vash.
Welcome, Vosh.
Hello.
Just to give you full warning, we are live.
No worries. Thank you.
Very good.
Okay.
All right. And I was just explaining how most Americans view money. It's not the end all be all of life.
No,
Although,
we know it's oil for you lot.
see,
Please note I say that with humor, okay?
so, and we were talking about the new trade deal with Vanderleyen and the EU,
Mm-hmm.
which we also have a new trade deal with Japan, which is uh, could be better. I'll be honest with you.
Yeah.
we gave the Japanese a much better deal than we gave the Europeans. Okay.
Well, yeah, but let's be honest. Look, whether you were willing to admit this or not, Japan is the 51st state. You took Japan, you kept Japan, you dangle its independence, and you pretend it's going to get it.
That's not true.
Okay, impress me. Tell me where I'm wrong.
If we had taken Japan, right, and turned it into into a 51st state or something like that, okay, we would be shipping Mexicans over there by leaps and bounds.
I'll be honest, I'm surprised you don't.
Because the
That's
Japanese.
not actually a joke. Okay. It's like you guys with Guam and that lot. Why you don't have a steady procession of tankers going from the mainland to Guam and ditching the contents, i.e. Mexicans? I don't
Because
know.
who wants to inflict Mexicans on anyone else? The only place I would inflict the Mexicans on, to be honest, are the Canadians.
Oh,
Okay? I would love to just ship them to Canada. All right? I am not opposed to airdropping them into Canada. I really
You're
am
not
not.
allowed to use Mexicans as bombs. You do know that, don't you?
I'm going to give them shoots. I'm willing to keep
Yeah.
them. I'm willing to let them live. I really am.
Hey, you guys don't understand the thing about Mexicans, all right? They're able to fight. They're able to drop from the people who need a parachute. They will be back in work the next day.
Not if they got to trudge through snow.
It's just like if you got a white person, they fall off a 2-story building. Just mention that you're calling an ambulance. That motherfucker will get up. Doesn't matter if it's broken legs. He's Deadpool now.
Look. I don't have a negative view of Mexicans. Actually, I think the Mexicans, especially the Mexicans that are pro Mexico and want to stay down in Mexico, are perfectly fine. All right, I do. I've had to go down to Mexico. I've made many trips to Mexico. I live 70 miles away from the border of Mexico. Okay, I have no problem with the Hispanic society as a whole. Okay, I have a problem with this victimization mentality. Yes, and I will always have a problem with the victimization mentality. Okay, at some point you've got to stop with that. If you want to fix things, you've got to stop worrying about victimhood. Okay, that's the reality. But I'm sick and tired of being preached at. I am sick and tired of being preached at about how, they're just escaping these gangland things and all these other problems. Well, fine, they can become somebody else's problem then. Specifically, the ones who do the most, poo-pooing and America bad moralizing on the world stage every freaking chance they get, aka the Canadians, who have plenty of land up there. You can have the Mexicans then enjoy.
Inquiry for you. How is things going with... I seem to remember hearing, and that, again, could be wrong, that Trump was talking about shipping basically all of your dangerous criminals, both Americans and non-Americans, down to El Salvador to bung in their jails. Is this true?
We were. That got stopped by the courts, got opened by the courts, got stopped by the courts, and it's still in the courts.
Yeah.
And so he said, fine, I won't ship them to El Salvador. I'll ship them.
Okay, where's he picking on?
I'll ship them to Somalia. I'm not joking. That's what he started doing.
Nice.
Okay, so
can we borrow him from?
So yeah,
We'll
we've been
give him
shipping
back, I
people to
promise.
Somalia now.
Oh, nice. Well, I'm saying it. Okay, if this gets you banned, I would say I'm sorry, but I'd be lying. To be fair, what are the lefties going to do? Complain? We're sending the black people back to Africa. Shut up, be happy.
They're not black. We're sending everyone. We don't care what the color
Then
is. It's not a racist.
that's fair. That's fair. All right,
But they
accept that
stopped
statement.
complaining about going to El Salvador now, didn't they?
Yeah. You
I
just
got another place to
trust
ship them if they don't want to go there. There's
Go on.
another group of people who love tweaking the United States and going, "You want the big bad Americans? You cannot stop us." Okay, well, you know what? It's only a
Hey, Rama
ship
Hoopy.
ride. It's only a ship ride if we decide to ship them to frickin' Greenland. Just pointing this out,
Oh,
Danes.
right. Yeah. Right. Hold up. Okay. What has Greenland never done to you? All right. Greenland's halfway decent. All right. If you're going to send them over to the Danes, send them over to the Danes.
Did
not
we
to
offer to
Greenland.
purchase it? Yes. Did they
Yeah.
sit up there and get all huffy and everything? Yes, they did.
Did you make a reasonable offer?
Yes.
Oh, okay then. I take back all of my arguments if you made a reasonable offer.
Of course, it's
Hey, Sixer.
my version of reasonable.
I've just discovered this great song. It's become my number one chart on my playlist.
Oh God.
Keir Starmer's a wanker. Keir Starmer's a wanker. Sorry, just had to get out my system.
I totally understand and completely agree with you.
Okay.
I take it you know that he's up there cutting deals with Trump.
Well, I'm not saying anything at the moment because nothing this guy does doesn't surprise me at all.
I'm just wondering, did he get good knee pads and a nice tissue?
Well, he certainly got butt fucked on live TV, didn't he? Yeah.
Okay, what did I miss?
Oh, Donald
Sure.
Trump. Donald Trump schooled him, and there was nothing he can do. It was live TV. He could interrupt. He just sat there and squirmed while Donald Trump bitch slapped him with a lot of the truths about our state of our country.
Yeah.
And it was glorious.
Oh,
Absolutely glorious.
That's why I'm hoping it got interesting.
I have a question for the two of
He
you.
was such a cuck. He is such a cuck and a soy boy. It was unbelievable the way he spoke. That sort of thing. That sort of, that sort of. He's a good friend of mine. You shouldn't say things like that to him.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, no. Yeah,
Let's do it quick because you guys are British and you have a total different outside view. Okay.
Yes.
But you guys watch America through the lens of the media. All right.
I watch bloody Fox News just to see what's happening.
Well,
and I wish, and what's happening in your, we dream that one day will happen here.
Well, okay, but do you think
all the great news stories is kind of like Fantasy Island for us?
But my question is, does Americans as a whole, do we seem like a group of very intense individuals? Intense. I'm not saying good, bad, moralized, not moralized, none of that. Just intense.
Yeah.
You have your extremes. We thought, you sort of looked at us and go, "Hold my fucking beer."
Dude, you guys created the Crayon Eaters, all right?
Yes.
You're intense.
I can't argue that point. I just think that both the thing is most Americans it's hard to explain this, but most Americans literally, okay, I want people to understand this. They literally hate politics and they avoid political discussions. All right. at almost all costs. And I'm not when I say most Americans, I'm not talking like 50%. I'm talking 80 to 90% of Americans are like that. Throughout the country, they don't want to talk about politics. They're not like me. I love talking about politics. Okay,
They're
but
We
not
never
like
guessed.
you.
We never have guessed.
all right.
Mhm.
But that's because I just like talking. If you had noticed, I avoid talking about other things that generally are what other people talk about. Okay, because I tend to avoid talking about family and the communities and things like that. And there's a reason for that because that's private, generally, right?
Yes.
Now, obviously, so you guys know more than most people about my families and so forth,
Mhm.
but I shy away from that. And politics is a great way. Bringing up politics is a great way to shy away from that kind of talk. Okay.
We'll talk about Star Trek.
Or
Mhm.
well, or Star Trek, which, by the way, okay,
I have not had time because I've been busy at the moment.
no. There is something. All right, I don't know if any of you guys watch Lore Reloaded.
No.
All right,
No,
he's got a
I used
basic.
to.
He's got a Star
I
Trek
know.
channel.
I know who he is. Yeah, but I
Right.
haven't watched him in a
Great
while.
voice for this medium. Okay,
Okay.
Lore Reloaded has a great voice for this medium. He's kind of a loon, but he's got a great voice for this medium. Okay.
Okay.
Very low.
His view. He just recently did one on like the top most controversial Star Trek episodes, right?
Right.
Okay.
And throughout all the genres, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I don't I don't necessarily disagree per se with some of with all of his commentary, but he's got the wrong view of Star Trek. And now I realize this you can go boomer if you want, right? Because I have the boomer view.
Mm-hmm.
Star Trek was okay. Roddenberry's vision, okay, but Roddenberry's vision wasn't the utopia that everyone seems to think that he thought it was.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
in the original series, you see that. Okay. Now it was Federation Uber Alles. All right, let's be perfectly blank. You know, Federation better than everybody else. Yes. Okay. But the idea that you know it was this utopian view of society, they forget that in TOS you still had money. They reference it repeatedly. Okay.
It's like with DS9 in it. They all relied on currency, or they had to.
Yeah.
While
but
they're
that
on,
was
while they're on the
'cause-
station.
yeah, it's because it was interspecies.
Yeah. So they had to have currency.
Right.
Or including all Starfleet members.
But
Yeah.
but in the original series, especially Mudd's Women, you see it where they talk about the money exchanging hands. You can buy a starship like Kirk, right? Or in the one with the Horda, we're gonna be embarrassingly rich, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
All this stuff.
Yes.
They're not talking. They're talking about wealth. They're not talking about wealth creation. They're not talking about this no scarcity kind of a lifestyle, like that everyone seems to have created mentally in their minds of where they were after the fact. Okay,
Mhm.
and I don't think that the Federation. I mean, what the Federation eventually becomes, all right, as far as what people see it is, that has less to do with I think Roddenberry's vision and more to do with the people who came after him, like especially the writers from the Next Generation, like Melinda Snodgrass.
Okay.
One thing I couldn't. It made me laugh. It was in First Contact. He says, how much, she says, how much does it cost to build one of these things? He says, well, actually, the concept of money doesn't exist in our time. We do it to better ourselves. I mean, tell me, do you think you would want to work in a dead-end job for nothing, just to better yourself and humanity? Would you? I would want to be bloody paid to the Heinz teeth to do a job, that I hate and despise.
Well,
You know?
well, that's the thing. All right, I'll be honest with you. I would probably be the enemy of the Federation because
Yeah.
the Federation,
Money.
if I was born within the Federation, not because of money, because of boredom.
Yeah.
Can
Yeah.
Yeah.
let's be
It's like-
and don't tell me you wouldn't be either, Jensen.
No,
you
I
would be
bored- I
working
would be
with
bored
me.
shitless.
You would be working with me, going, you know what? We could be weapons dealers. We'd be like Ferengi for the weapons program. Okay, I'll
Yeah.
just be honest.
buy
with you.
my own small moon.
But not for the sake of buying it, but just go, let's blow this up. Let's be perfectly frank.
Another example, DS9 again. Sisko's father has got his own business.
Yeah.
How
Yeah.
does he keep it running? How does well, what's money and but you could today you couldn't do that because you need money. Well, how could you? You see my point?
Yeah, no. I like I said,
Can I make a point here? All right.
Uh-huh.
The whole point with the whole Federation thing with money is because replicators kind of made money useless, but yet you still had a certain proportion of replicator points that you were allowed to have. What's the difference between that and money?
Okay, well, hold on. No, it may not matter in the Federation itself, but if you're talking about something like what happened with Voyager, they had limited resources, so they had to use replicator rations to
Yeah.
so it doesn't eat up on
they were
resources. So
they were-
technically, they had replicated rations to help. Although Neelix grew his own stuff to help supplement the stuff. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, no, I'm not saying that. What I'm trying to say is that, given the fact with Sisko's father, okay,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, maybe the guy could do jambalaya like an absolute god, etc. Okay, I'm not questioning that,
No.
but why couldn't you get equal or possibly even better quality, literally by just walking up to a replicator and saying, I want something in this style. It goes scan. Oh, that's how it's made. Wallop. There you go.
Yeah, they scan the genomes. But the thing I've noticed with Sisko's dad, I think a lot of this is mainly fresh ingredients. It is not replicated.
Okay.
He avoids the replicator. So
Where's
he's trying to get
where's
all
he?
of his fresh as possible.
So he has a series of farms on speed dial or something.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm just pointing this out.
He probably has his own source of ingredients.
And
No. I've
Grow
got
it.
a new thing. Sorry. Apologies for the interruption here, but I've got a thing. So, okay, let's pretend he has got a whole bunch of farms on speed dial. So, do you think that they are going to load up vehicles and transport it, or are they going to bung it in a transporter and send it to him? Which makes it just as good as replicator stuff because transporters disintegrate the object and reform it out of.
it's a good
whatever
point,
map they've got
actually.
access
Well,
Does he have a flying it around the planet?
I mean, I don't see why they can't still. Yeah,
or do they
I
transport?
still don't want to can't have your own delivery vehicle. A lot of companies usually do, don't they?
But why would you have a delivery vehicle that would cost you X power units? I'm going to call it power units for literally no logical reason than descriptive. Whereas, let's say it costs you 10 power units. Again, totally arbitrary number. Whereas using a transporter costs you 2 power units. I wonder which one it is you're going to go for. Can't imagine. Can you?
But we don't know what sort of effect a transporter would have on the stock.
That is
honest.
true. No, that
Well,
part I do agree.
Well,
There's
but
difference between a transporter and a replicator.
that's
Replicators
true.
matter.
But you also have filters on these transporters.
Yeah.
All right, that
But
do a lot of filtering shit out of which could be good, bad, or indifferent. Let's be honest. It's going to change it. It's going to change the taste to some degree, right?
Yeah, but the thing is, like I said, like replicators, and I include holodecks in this. It all relies on replicated matter.
Yeah.
Whereas transport's not. It takes what object, it disassembles it, stores in a buffer, transfers it to the next one, and reassembles it.
Okay.
It doesn't. It's not replicated matter.
Let's talk.
But it is replicated.
Not particularly. No.
Well,
It's
no,
it's a disassembler, transfer, and reassembler.
yes, but it doesn't. The items it's transferring, it can't transfer matter. It has to transfer energy, which means the energy is sent to place B.
So you're saying
And
that the replica. So you're saying that the transporter then converts your body into energy.
Yes.
And then converts it back.
Sorry, what was that, mate?
And then converts it back from energy into matter. That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
No, I'm not saying it doesn't convert it back, but at the end of the day, it converts it back using air quotes local materials to rebuild the person.
No,
But that's
using the energy that it's not exactly. It's using the energy that was stored when it was converted to energy.
Stored in a buffer which was transferred, so the pattern is still there.
Correct.
It doesn't need to rely on sources. It's just basically like a giant. It's just a very complicated jigsaw puzzle that you put back together at the other end.
Which, by definition, then, a transporter and a replicator are actually incredibly similar.
Yes.
And therefore, okay, you're right.
They are
I am
similar.
seeing that right now.
Okay, they
They're
are similar,
but
but they're not exactly the same. All right.
No, but in that case, why not use a replicate? Well, I don't know if I'm going to say this right, so expect this to maybe come out wrong. Please try to understand what I'm trying to say. Okay, why not use a replicator system to transport from said farm to the location and then use it to reform it, and then use what you've reformed into the recipe itself, effectively cutting out a middleman. Does that make sense?
That's what replicators are anyway.
So
what's the bloody point? But then again, the reason people prefer fresh to replicators is because it's real and it tastes different textures.
They claim that's.
It's like trying to choosing what should I eat? Should I eat filet mignon or should I have meal ready to eat emergency ration number 5? You know what I mean? That's what to me what replicator is.
But I do want to point out some other things. Okay, first of all, if you had this glut, all right, amount of excess energy, all right,
Yeah.
on any planet, okay, for example, if you had it on Earth,
Yeah.
there would no longer be deserts in the world.
Very true.
Yeah.
Okay, because you would just basically transport water and with a filter to take the salt out, all right, and directly freaking, hundreds of thousands of gallons of, billions and billions of gallons of water would be used.
The thing is that you'll be severely altering the ecosystem of the planet.
So
what
what?
It was, what it's supposed to be.
So
like a desert was supposed to be a desert. This is called a desert for a reason. There was a reason it was supposed to be a desert. Evolution.
well,
You know what I'm trying to say. Like the Genesis planet, you had a desert planet, but it was snowing.
We are no longer nature's children. We are but its masters.
Exactly.
yeah, but the thing is we would sit up there and increase it. They would get rid of deserts. Let's be honest. That's what would happen.
To be fair, you terraform the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
Genesis. Yeah.
It would be very easy to terraform Earth because all you'd have to do is, like I said, you should just transfer water.
Well, they're according to Riker, they did with the moon. Remember, it's now been terraformed, isn't it? The moon's been terraformed.
I don't think you could terraform the moon. All right? There
But
are some
Chabaita
ideas.
said there is.
I don't think there's certain things that people don't understand about physics. All right, there's no way to terraform the moon. All right.
Oh, I know what you mean because it will mess up the gravitational pull that's orbiting Earth. So yeah, I know what you mean.
It's not just that.
But-
There's a whole slew of reasons why you wouldn't want to even try terraforming the moon.
No, but they did. But they did. This is what I'm trying to say in first contact. Or it says what it says. He said to Riker, "What, you never seen a moon before? Yeah, but not like this." And he says because it's all how many millions of people are living on the moon.
Yeah, that's a problem too. Now,
Yeah.
even terraforming Mars, okay, would be there's certain things that you would have to do, right, if you were going to try and terraform Mars. And one of the things that you would have to do, right, is you would have to use some kind of energy force to re-liquefy the core.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, because they said there's supposed to be ice in there, wasn't there? For
If and the reason you have to re-liquefy the core isn't for the water, you need to do that for the magnetic field, because the solar wind would just blast it otherwise. Because you can't
Yeah, I was
keep an
about to say.
atmosphere without the magnetic field.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, or a strong magnetic field, right? Unless there's
you've been
other
watching the
things
core
going
again,
on.
ain't you?
Yeah, so you would have to liquefy the core. Now, to liquefy the core, we're assuming that the core of Mars is similar to the Earth's core in that it's some kind of liquid metal. Okay.
Reasonable.
Now they assume that the vast
The
majority
P1000.
of it is iron, all right? Iron nickel alloy liquid of some sort.
Yeah.
I disagree.
Made of a polymetallic alloy.
I disagree with that philosophy. Okay, I think the core is something else entirely. But there's no way of knowing until we develop the technology to be able to go and look at it. All right. Now, why do I disagree with that? As you dig into the Earth, all right, and get closer to the mantle, you know what goes up aside from temperature?
Go on.
Radiation.
Makes sense.
All right. Iron doesn't really have that many radioactive isotopes. Does that make sense?
Yes.
But other heavy metals do, like uranium.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I want to point this out. So I suspect that the core is molten because of nuclear. There's a type of nuclear reaction going on within the core that's keeping it molten more than anything else. Right.
Okay.
Can't prove it at this point because we can't go down there. But this is just my philosophy, my view of what you're looking at. Okay. Because otherwise, if it was just iron, okay,
yeah,
it would have cooled a long time ago. Okay, we would not be dealing with it. But back to Star Trek's view, right? If you're going to terraform Mars, you're going to terraform all these planets. You need obviously excess energy, right?
Yes.
Which they supposedly have, right? They have massive energy reserves, okay? Which leads you to the question then, why are there so many human colonies without this energy?
Fair.
Right? Wouldn't you take the energy production systems? Wouldn't that be a requirement for you to start a colony somewhere?
True.
I just wonder how the terraform towers worked in Aliens. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they were just, but I think they were just atmospheric generators, weren't they? They weren't actual true terraform.
Well,
True.
I mean, that's part of the
Would have
terraforming
needed-
mentality,
yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I've got a question for the pair of you, as you both have your own little specialities here.
Uh-oh.
Why? No. I'm actually not. It's not a dick question either. Funnily enough.
Oh, I wasn't even thinking about to carry on.
Why have Federation, with all of the tech they have, and they have got some dumb ass tech, okay? Why have they not?
Cough, a spore drive. Cough.
Don't even bother. Don't even bother.
Todd is tight, but the turbo lifts.
No. Why the frig do they not have Dyson spheres or ring worlds? And before you go, they do have Dyson spheres. There was that one episode, exactly. There was
Yeah.
that one episode. A Dyson sphere, in and of itself, given the technology shown by Star Trek, should not be that difficult.
Obviously,
not
it is.
saying
Otherwise,
that
we would have.
Sorry, go on, mate.
It's
Sorry.
well, obviously, it is. Otherwise, we would have.
But that's just it. And this is where I'll be turning
Okay.
to Nomad because he's more of the.
I mean,
It goes down to
oh,
a Dyson sphere.
Can I just point this out because they're also part of this. They have to build it around a sun as well. Because didn't they build it around the sun?
Yes.
Yes, but that's not actually as difficult as it may sound.
Or was it artificial sun? I can't remember.
Exactly. It could well be an artificial sun.
No, it was not an artificial sun. In the case
Oh,
of
okay.
in the episode, I just watched the damn episode a couple days ago. As a matter of
Oh,
fact.
that's fun. Wow.
Well, there you go.
And maybe just go off again about something else. But okay, you're asking what that is, what the problem is. Okay.
Yeah.
A Dyson sphere is impossible, and the reason it's impossible, okay, is mass. You are talking about creating something which the mass would be greater than the entire solar system.
Okay.
Okay. So in other words, people talk about how the star has most of the mass. Not if you create a Dyson sphere, it won't. Okay.
No.
Not if you're encompassing it where it's 96 or 93 million miles away around the entire thing. The amount of mass that would take, okay, to just get that kind of mass, where would you get it from? Well, you got all this energy. Well, okay, so it's going to have more energy than the star. Then what's the hell's the point? If you're going to use that much energy and you're running around with it, why would you build the Dyson sphere? The idea of the Dyson sphere was so that you could contain all the energy of the star and use it in perpetuity, right? Mm-hmm. But if you have that much more excess energy, you don't need it. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you
what about ring worlds? What about ring worlds?
Now that's different. Okay. Yes.
Yeah. Like Halo,
Ring worlds could be created, but ring worlds have a problem as well. And the problem with ring worlds are what'll cause as it's around the sun. Okay, you're talking gravity, right? The ring world itself has gravity, correct?
Okay.
And it's going to take the sun, which is generally a ball, and at the equator, meaning from where the ring world is around it, it's going to pull it toward itself, flatten it.
Yes.
Okay, so that creates. What is that going to do to the star? I don't know. Okay, because you are really the gravitational tidal forces that you're dealing with are massive at this point. All right, you're not just talking about the tidal forces or the gravitational forces in effect that can affect the star because of that much mass that you've got around there. All right, you're increasing the mass to a massive amount. Okay, what that would do to a star's internal engines, all right, as it flows, I don't think anybody has any kind of idea or clue as to what kind of havoc that would create. Okay, and so people, this is why I just laughed about it when I first saw that Star Trek episode because, or the Next Generation. Even though I love seeing Scotty again, I love Scotty.
The relic.
You know, the idea of a Dyson sphere, the gravitational mass of the Dyson sphere would have been so massive, all right, it would be close to creating the conditions of like a neutron star and so forth. All right, and once again, it would have to be perfect in so many different ways, which I don't think is capable because it would have to rotate, it would have to spin on its own. Okay.
Yes.
And it would have to be able to adjust relative to the star as it's rotating around it. A ring world would as well, by the way, because you could sit up there and create a ring world and then flip and then have it spinning like a gyroscope.
Yeah,
All right.
that's
We're,
generally how they are. I thought. But,
all right,
okay.
but think about how fast you're moving that thing. All right, you're not talking. You're talking. Just as people tend to forget just how fast the Earth is actually traveling.
What
Just
about
going around
gravity
the sun.
platings?
Mhm.
Okay, well, once again, I mean that
Energy though required.
well, we don't know what gravity actually is. Right? So until we can
No, I'm saying
fully,
that starships are gravity plating. One more sense, why not a ring world?
I agree. All right. Once again, but are we talking about so
But
much
then again,
gravity?
what's the point of a ring world?
Right. Well, exactly. If you've got that much energy, what's the point of it? And so
Yeah.
I don't see that happening in that kind of a manner. Okay. I
Well, you
do
wouldn't. What I'm saying
see.
is, you wouldn't have to build.
I-
And what I'm saying is, you wouldn't have to build a ring world if if you got artificial decking. You mean you could build a normal station?
Well, I think that a ring world would be.
Dome worlds.
That's what a
Dome
ring
worlds are
world.
probably better.
That's what a
Yeah,
ring
dome
world
worlds.
would
There
be.
you go. That silent running. The space that 70s one, silent running. Dome worlds
Well, you would have.
had its own artificial gravity, didn't it? So
Yeah, you would have. That's what I think you would have to do. And I think that if you had something like a ring world, it wouldn't be around the sun. It would be around the planet.
Hmm.
Okay.
Okay.
Why? Because it gives you a lot of options. All right. Number one, it doesn't have to be as big. Okay. So the amount of material used to create it is smaller. Two, it's a permanent type of a station. All right. I mean, I just heard that dimwit. What was his name? The black physicist that always goes on there and talks all that shit.
Oh, Tyson.
Yeah.
Degrees Tyson. Or
Yes.
something, yeah.
He just made a comment that we have material that's strong enough to create an elevator, a space elevator. Right? And he said it was
Oh.
he's been watching Voyager, hasn't he?
nanocarbon fibers, and I was like, no, we
No.
don't.
No,
We
no.
don't even have anything close to that. Right? I don't think people understand. We took
They made
a piece of wire about 15 years ago, right? In one of our last space shuttle missions, they decided to say, you know what? Let's sit there and see if we can do a test by putting a piece of wire out, and the wire, as it travels with the space shuttle, right? Because it's cutting the magnetic lines of the Earth, will generate electricity. And so, as an experiment, they were going to see just how much electricity that it created, right? And they spooled out about 500 feet of the 2 mile wire, right?
Yeah.
And it snapped. Okay, because the forces involved. Now, if you put a space elevator up, okay, the idea is it would be in geosynchronous orbit.
Yes.
Okay, you're not talking close to the Earth anymore. Okay, when I'm talking about close to the Earth, I'm saying you're not within 200 miles of the Earth. Okay, you're around 2,000 or so. You're out there a ways.
Yeah.
Okay.
Still classed as Neo though, so you know.
Okay.
Near Earth orbit. Yeah.
So while you're not dealing with Earth's magnetic field in that long distance, you are dealing with other fields such as the solar winds and so forth. So as the Earth rotates around, the different areas of that elevator, all right, the length of that elevator is all going to be receiving different forces being pressed upon it.
Yeah.
Okay, it will shatter in a matter of instances. And to say that carbon fiber nanotubes will do it, no, they won't. Okay, he doesn't know anything about nanofiber tubes. Carbon nanofiber tubes have strength in only one direction. When you're talking shear forces out in space and you get it multiple directions, it can't survive. To even talk like that is stupid.
perfect example, the Titan submarine.
Exactly.
Made of carbon fiber, wasn't it?
Mm.
And that was just gone underwater.
Well,
So imagine what it's going to do in space.
they're talking about nanotubes, which are a little bit different, but the idea is that you could scale up nanotubes to even deal with that, with the kind of forces in multiple directions. And like you said, though, you are right. It is the problem is you're not dealing with a single strength in one direction. You're dealing with it in
No,
multiple
yeah.
directions, and that submarine did implode. Okay,
Yep.
Yeah.
to the point where there was nobody left.
Because somebody thought it'd be a good idea to make it out of the bloody carbon fiber, not realizing the amount of pressures it will be under, unlike metal,
No, they believed
Like-
they believed
like
the
a
pressure
normal
was.
submarine.
They believed the pressure was there. All right. What they didn't believe was that okay, metal.
Well, everyone else thought it was a dumb idea, but he still built it anyway.
Well, everyone did think it was a dumb idea because one thing no one had ever attempted to do with it before, all right, was to see what would happen because metal fatigues, okay, and so common sense tells you the carbon fiber is going to fatigue too, but
Well,
we
common
don't
sense tell you
have.
when you- No, common sense would tell you when you hear that first bang, you stop. You
Well-
know, you check it out.
Well,
You know what I mean?
I think that first bang it was already too late for them.
That's
No, but-
unfortunate.
Yeah, but the first bang was they had the first bang, but they still did the dive. That was the first sign that something was wrong. So when they went down again, there you go.
Well, they
Boom.
did hear
That's
hear something else. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Oh, wait.
there was a bang
Just
before that
actual-
before that fateful disaster, but they still managed to survive the dive. But it was only then. But nobody did bother to check over, see where that bang came from, see if there's any cracking. No, thought nothing of it, and just carried on, and people lost their lives.
You never actually answered my question, by the way.
What? What was your
You
question?
gave me reasons why it would be difficult, stroke impossible to build the
Space
Dyson
Oak.
stroke Dyson thing. Well, no. I'm actually going back to my thing, which was the Dyson.
Okay.
So what's about you, innit?
Yes, it is. I am wonderful.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Why the fuck can't they actually build it? Look at the tech these people have. Okay? They have developed quite literally the ability to transport things from point A to point B over a massive distance.
Okay.
And let's be honest,
Mahusiv.
yes. Oh,
Mahusiv.
are you telling me you've never heard Mahusiv before?
No, never heard of Mahusiv. Mahusiv's a house.
Wow. It's literally massive, but suggesting even greater than massive.
Yeah.
Mahusiv.
Gigantic.
No, even bigger than that. It is Mahusiv. But nonetheless,
Bit like me. Yeah.
why couldn't they build it? Okay.
yes, that
Okay.
was my question.
The thing is, they could
Okay,
theoretically.
there we go. That's all
All right.
we needed. to
But
solve.
but the question then comes into why do they only have so many starships? That's the same question.
You know,
Okay.
fair. I would actually
Because
say
the
resources,
way
then
the
again.
way you got the same resources that you're dealing with to create a Dyson sphere, you could do the same thing.
Oh
the
no,
question-
no! I'm
The
not
question still
disagreeing.
comes down to like when they talk about the number of Starfleet ships and so forth. The one thing that you never know is we never know how many starships are actually out there. Okay, we do know that there was 13 Constellation class. All right, ships.
Okay.
And what was it? 11 Galaxy class, I think. All right. What the
Okay.
question I've always had is why? Why so few? You can't
True.
tell me you shouldn't be kicking these things out. You should have the ability to kick these things out. All right. Like lunch boxes. Okay. I mean, that's from the material. Unless there's something that you truly can't take energy and replicate it into matter of some sort. Now we know that that's
Yeah.
theoretically that's true because they have what is it? The liquid metal that they trade in on DS9.
Gold
Oh,
plate.
yeah,
Platinum.
platinum.
Latin,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Gold
they're-
plate platinum.
So yes, they can make the gold, but they can't make the latinum supposedly in a replicator, theoretically. Okay.
Yes, but then again, is latinum used in the production of Federation ships? Is your
Well, the question then is there something else aside from latinum that is?
Yeah.
All right. So from that standpoint, you do have to wonder about the questions about it. But if you have these capabilities, the theoretical capabilities, right? Then yes,
Mhm.
this becomes the issue. So the problem though that I see more than anything else with the idea of a replicator, right, is it's one thing to say, okay, I've got something that I'm going to take all the energy from, and I'm going to put back all the energy in because I have a pattern already with it. Okay.
Yeah.
Versus creating a pattern out of thin air.
Okay.
Okay. Now the other thing that people tend to forget about is when we detonate a nuclear warhead.
Mhm.
Okay. The amount of material that actually goes through fission and fusion is tiny. Okay. That being the case, when you're dealing with something like antimatter, antimatter,
Mm.
and the energy involved
Yeah.
in this, the amount of
Mhm.
energy that you're talking about isn't just several magnitudes. All right, it's beyond that. It's the magnitudes exponentially. Okay.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
this is one of the things that I'm saying. If you're going to try and create this kind of matter, even if it's a cup of coffee, the magnitude of the energy that you are utilizing, okay,
Mhm.
belies the ability. I mean, it is so much beyond the warp field that you can generate. Okay, I want you to understand that the energy to create that coffee cup, from the theories as we understand them now, is hundreds of magnitudes above where it would create to create the ship to drive the ship into a warp field with a warp field. So I don't think people understand the scales that you're talking about. It all sounds cool on theory until you start looking at the scales of these things, right? And people like
Yeah.
DeGrasse Tyson, or however you say his name, and I'm not trying to butcher
DeGrasse
his name.
Tyson, yeah.
I'm not trying to butcher it because I just can't remember how to say it exactly. He
Yeah.
knows better. He's a freaking astrophysicist. He should
This
know
is right.
something about scale to make these kind of comments that he makes, right? Especially
Yeah.
when he's talking to people who don't know any better. Would we like to have a space elevator? If we could create the materials for a space elevator, there'd be space elevators everywhere.
Yes.
All right. Now, there's a problem with space elevators, which he also didn't talk about.
Mhm.
Where can you put a space elevator?
Logically, it would have to be along the equator because that is the nearest point between.
Exactly. You can't put them everywhere. They're going to have to be
No.
only along the equator.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
North Pole.
no, you can't do it at a
For-
pole.
No, too much magnetic interference, I would
Ah,
suspect.
The
I'm not-
torsional.
I
It's
could be
not just
wrong.
that. It's the torsional stress. Think of the torsional stress
Ah.
as it tries as you try and turn around that bar.
Fair point.
All
Fair
right.
point. Mm-hmm.
So the only place you could really build one and actually have it to where you had a chance of its existence would be, like you said, at the equator. Well, it would be really good for Africa. A lot of land at the equator around Africa. Okay. It's going to suck in a lot of other places because, well, Africa has a fairly flat area around the equator where you could build something like that. You're not going to build it in the Himalayas. Okay?
No.
Okay? I just want to point some of these things out. Right? And you don't
Yeah.
have a lot of places where you could actually effectively build this. All right. And even then, at the top of the space elevator, you're going to have some kind of correction taking place on a constant basis.
Okay.
Okay, so you're going to need fuel of some sort, some way of mitigating energy to make sure that it stays where it is, that it stays in geosynchronous lock with the Earth. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Logically, some form of solar cells would English
I-
solar cells. Apologies, I got the words the wrong way around.
I don't think that solar cells would be effective enough. I think you'd have to have some kind of material rockets actually readjusting it on a continuous basis, especially if for no other reason, because as something travels around the Earth, like the moon, it creates tidal
Yeah.
stresses. All right, and of course, it would take those same kind of tidal stresses and apply them in various different angles to the space elevator. Okay, so
Fair.
I mean, the idea of being able to use a space elevator to constantly push things up into space, it sounds good. It sounds wonderful, right?
Mm-hmm.
Would we love to have something like that? Yes. But you're robbing Peter to pay Paul. In order to keep it so that it works, you're not going to, are you really saving that much energy? Right? That's the question.
Fair.
The question of putting something in orbit, the reason they don't like doing it is because it takes an awful lot of energy to put something into orbit, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this comes to the other problem that Neil deGrasse Tyson didn't talk about. If you take, let's say you take a ball, Mr. Ball, and you put it on Mr. Space Elevator, all right, on the Earth, and as it starts to go up, okay, now it has to, by inertia, okay, absorb the energy, all right. The directional energy is going to shift as it goes out. Does that make sense?
Oh yes.
Once again, breaking the space elevator. Okay?
I'm seeing a problem here. Yeah.
All right. This is why I was listening to talk. A space elevator can't function that way. In fact, the only way a space elevator would work is if it's a rotating kind of thing where it grabs something from the Earth, but it has a counterbalance way outside of it, and then it rotates back and forth into the atmosphere and out again. All right, which case it's going to take. Obviously, that would take energy, right? But that's how it would have to function. It would have to be like a giant freaking Ferris wheel.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
That's basically roaming around the Earth.
Right, guys, I'm gonna have to drop out. My ankle's playing me up, and I need to get some sleep.
All right,
Oh,
dude.
mate, you
All
look
right.
after
Thanks for having me on.
Take care of yourself.
You take care. All right, Mike. Take care. Bye bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
But a space,
Yeah,
a giant rotating Ferris wheel around the Earth would be kind of cool. You know, a track system where you just kind of add things to it and it picks it up and puts it out. Think about it; it would be cool.
It would. In all fairness, again, going back to my Dyson concept,
Mhm.
in all fairness, and I know you're going to probably give me a million and one reasons why I'm wrong here, but if any race was going to have it, and we're not adding the Q in, they're just a joke in and of itself. The Borg, I'm shocked that they don't.
Why would they? It still comes down to why would you build it? What
We have- I
advantage
know-
do you gain by building the damn thing?
That is a fair statement, especially with the Borg.
See, it would be less likely with the Borg than it would be with humans, because humans might build it going, hey, let's see what we can do. Okay, let's be honest. All right, let's see if we can do it. All right. You know, why are you climbing the mountain? Because it's there. Okay, well, humans do have that philosophy, right?
This is true, and the only reason I say about the Borg is because of their thieving abilities. Let's get blunt here. They don't create; they steal.
Well, yeah. All right, which is
Oh
another.
my god! I've worked it out. The Borg are basically just space Chinese. They don't create their own technology; they nick it from some bugger else. Okay.
all
explains
right.
everything.
Let's talk about. Let's stop right there. All right. Yes, we complain about the Chinese nicking all of our stuff.
Yeah. a bit.
Okay, but
Mhm,
in fairness to the Chinese, in total,
mhm.
okay, the Chinese gave us a lot as well that we didn't invent. All right, that we improved upon once we had it, including the greatest tool in Western society that is poo-pooed by everybody else, and that is the fork. Okay,
Mm, okay.
the Chinese created the fork essentially and never
Yeah.
expounded on it. Once a fork became popular in the West, it became it's the differentiation between that and running around with sticks eating plant life sooner or later.
Fair.
All right, from
Yeah.
these things. Okay, so I'm just pointing this out. But China,
Yeah.
the China is not the communism causes thieving. Okay,
Mhm,
the Russians, the
mhm.
Soviets did the same thing. All right,
Yeah.
the Soviets tried to steal so much once they realized how far behind they were. Okay, the Soviets were able to do a lot of innovative stuff on their own, which is, or you end up with Sputnik and things like that, right? Because of they're Russians, right? They're Soviets. They had the philosophy of we can overcome this. But
Yeah.
what drove that? What drove that was stealing, stealing the atomic weapons, stealing the 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 German technology for rocketry, right? And the need to quote unquote marry the two. Now, I'm not saying that we didn't steal that technology as well, all right, utilize it, all right, because we
Mhm.
did, okay. But
Yeah.
at the same time, we weren't satisfied with what we had grabbed. We improved on it to a large extent, and they constantly cut corners. People forget this. It's in a certain way, it's very admirable, but at the same time, it's like holy shit. If you take a look at the Soviet space program, you have to admire
Mhm.
what they could achieve, but at the same time, it's horrific. It's horrific the things that they were doing, and 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 when I say the shortcuts they were taking, there's one thing to make mistakes. Okay,
Yeah.
for example, one of the biggest mistakes that we had, right, led to the tragedy of Apollo 1, right, which was super pressurizing the atmosphere with a 100% oxygen atmosphere. Okay,
Uh-huh.
okay.
I can see where that could go interestingly.
Well, that's why. But see that's a hindsight type of mistake. You know, you people need oxygen. Provide them
Yeah.
oxygen. You don't have to
Yes.
worry about it, right? Makes
Fair.
sense. Makes sense. Okay.
Yeah.
And the higher the oxygen content, the less CO2 scrubbing you got to worry about. Okay. There's
Okay.
positives to an all oxygen environment from a space
Yeah.
perspective. Okay. And when you're
Yeah.
talking about people who constantly work with metal, people that constantly work with metal don't think about fire. They don't. I'm
No.
not saying they
No.
shouldn't, but they don't.
That's fair.
All right.
Before we continue, I'm gonna have to bug real soon.
Okay.
Sorry
So
to say. Okay.
let's just get on to this quick story here because this is one I do want to talk
Okay.
about. Delta co-pilot removed from a flight after feds stormed the cockpit, arrested him on child sex charges. A Delta co-pilot that passengers say was taken from the cockpit after landing in San Francisco International Airport Saturday night has been arrested on child sex charge. Flight 2809 had just arrived from Minneapolis when, according to passengers, a group of federal agents suddenly boarded the plane and stormed the cockpit. The arrest warrant came from Contra Costa County Sheriff's Office and the man is being held on $5 million bond according to jail records. Well, I can't argue with doing that. Okay,
Yeah.
we're all shocked and stunned. Yeah, I would be too. The question I have is why did they storm the cockpit? All right.
Yeah.
Now, the only reason I could think of that they would do that is if this flight was going to continue, because you're at San Francisco International Airport. Is this flight going to continue overseas?
Okay.
Right. So maybe that was a concern of theirs. Okay, I can see them doing it for that very reason. Okay. But what is the problem with all these frippin' pedos everywhere? And I know everyone talks about the Epstein thing. Look, I don't disagree with people being upset about the Epstein stuff. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't think that people understand the gravity of it, because they think the gravity is getting rid of these pedos.
Yeah.
Okay. And that while that isn't a major aspect of this, right? It's not the most serious thing. And I've said this before. The most serious thing is that the U.S. government and intelligence agencies, people within the U.S. government intelligence agencies, ran a program to do that intentionally. Okay,
True.
that's the difference. Okay, those people have got to go, and they're not going to be the ones who are on Lolita Island. They're not going to be on the registry of Lolita Island. All right.
Agree.
And as Ghislaine Maxwell said, she's turned over 100 names and so forth. Great.
Yeah.
Did she turn over her handlers? Okay. You know what I mean by that.
Oh yeah.
All right. And
That's why I chuckled.
and that's the problem that people have with people like the Quartering. You guys aren't asking the right questions. You guys aren't listening to the way these things are being parsed. All right. And then turning around and going, why did you parse it this way? Why did you put it out like that?
Yeah.
See, and that's what's causing that's what's irritating me. To complain, well, they said that they're lying to us because they said that there's no what was it, list. There's no list. They said that there was a list, and now they're saying that there was no list. Well, first of all, it's not what they said, but what they said is that Epstein didn't create a list.
Yeah.
Okay. That they parsed it, at which point you should have asked, why are you parsing it that way?
Yeah.
And then the next question is if they come back and try and lie and say, well, there was no list, the next question is why not? Okay.
Fair.
I'm sorry, but why not? Why didn't you create a list? Why didn't you create the list? See, they don't ever ask the real questions that need to be asked. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Ask the right damn questions.
I'm gonna have to bug, mate. You
No
look
problem.
after yourself. Sorry, man.
Well, and thanks everybody for coming out. I hope you all enjoyed the show. It was obviously kind of shorter than I was expecting it. Well, no, actually, I kind of sidetracked on Star Trek, geeked out a little bit. So I apologize. I apologize for that. Hope that you all have a good day, and I'll talk to you later. Bye bye, everybody.
See you later. Bye bye.